At first light after Mangalati, the devotees took Prabhupada in a palanquin. I remember Narayan Maharaj was leading the kirtan, Nadi was playing drum, and I had kartals. We went all the way down to Vrindavan, and then of course then I noticed all these hundreds of people that came from nowhere. I couldn't figure that everyone had heard, or if they had heard that Prabhupada left. I never saw Vrindavan in such a mood that everyone came out to pay homage. It was so early in the morning. The rooftops were packed wherever we went. And we took Prabhupada to all the Goswami temples of Vrindavan, Madan Mohan, Radha Damodar, Radha Shamsundar. And we ended up at Govindaji, and from Govindaji we came back from there.
There's two things that Srila Prabhupada gave me. One was personal association, and the other was some attachment for Vrindavan for whatever reason. And Upendra got in touch with me when Prabhupada was in Vrindavan and was starting to become very sick, and it became very clear he was going to leave soon. And I actually went to Vrindavan and spent time with him there. That was the first time I ever went to India. And courtesy of Tamal Krishna, I got to spend a lot of time with Srila Prabhupada personally. And I was able to do little things to help. And that was a remarkable time. There was one moment in particular which stands out and has always remained with me, that normally Srila Prabhupada would give instruction in a very straightforward way by speaking to you. But by now he was very, very sick, and he actually had to be picked up and rolled over in bed and carried. You know, he was getting ready to leave. And I'll never forget this. We're on the roof of his apartment in Vrindavan. And my job was to burn. We had a pot of, I'm not quite sure what it was, but I was burning it to keep the mosquitoes away. And there was peacocks cawing in the background, and the smells of Vrindavan, and the feeling of the air, and the weight of warmth that the air in India has. And I was sitting at Srila Prabhupada's feet, looking along his body at him, and I just had a moment, like I guess a cathartic moment. And I didn't speak outwardly, but I spoke very clearly in my heart, and I said, Srila Prabhupada, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Who are you? And he sat up by himself. And he couldn't do that at that point. And for like 10 minutes or more, a long time, he just looked at me and he spoke without speaking. And I heard his voice inside my heart, and he told me exactly what I was doing, why I was there, who he was, and what was happening. And when he'd finished, he lay back down as if nothing had happened, and again had to be moved and rolled over. And that was the last instruction he gave me. And it was like nothing I ever saw with Srila Prabhupada in all the time I was with him. It was honestly mystical beyond measure. You know, there was no way you could describe that as a normal interaction with anybody. And it was profoundly intuitive, and he defied all material logic by sitting up and doing what he did. And he sat bolt upright, straight, and stared, and didn't stop staring while he spoke without speaking like that. And it was very clear, very basic. There was nothing kind of odd or nothing mixed up with the madness of my mind in there. It was lucid. You know, you're the eternal servant of Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada was non-different to Vrindavan. There was no point of distinction between Srila Prabhupada's mood, his motive, and what Vrindavan was. They were the same thing. Everything made sense then. Seeing Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan was the most amazing thing. I'll spend many lifetimes coming to grips with that, I'm sure.
There was one conversation